Hi again, YouTubers. I didn't expect to get back as quickly as this, but I got a very quick answer on my last video, which is supposed to pick different numbers. And it's from Gary, or Sundodger1, who makes great, interesting videos himself, so check him out. I thought this was so exciting. I wanted to see what was on this note with these different numbers that he gave me, so I had to check it out at once. Even though I may not even have time for this, but I'm going to do it anyway. So 5 different picks, and I'm not going to take them in the order of the numbers that he gave me. They are a bit random here, and as it turned out, it was 3 albums and 2 78 RPMs that is picked, and one of them has actually a quite funny story, so I'm very happy that he picked that one. But let's start with something that many connect with Sweden, but I have never showed or talked about any of their records in any video that I made as far as I can remember, but still I've got their albums. Most of them, not all of them, but some of them. Well, most of them actually. And I'm talking about the Swedish #1 music export during the 1970s, ABBA. And this is ABBA, the album from 1977. It's the Swedish issue. Those are, of course, most easy to find in Sweden. The Swedish issue, the original issues, if you want to say it like that, they came out on the label Polar. And the label design of Polar changed a bit during the years, but late 70s they looked like this. Quite nice, actually. Polar was the label of Stig Andersson, Stickan. He formed it in the mid-60s, and one of the first successes he had was with the Hootenanny group, the folk music group Hootenanny Singers. And one of the members there was Björn Ulvaeus, who would later become the guitar player of ABBA. This is their 4th album. This was issued along this same time as the movie, ABBA the Movie, that was directed by Lasse Hallström. Engineered by Mikael Betreto, the great and humorous engineer, sound engineer. This album has some very good tracks, like the Take a Chance on Me, but I have to say that this is not one of their best albums. It's quite uneven. And the mini musical The Girl with the Golden Hair at the other side, okay, first attempt to do something musical-like, but well, it's not the ABBA album that I would pick if I had to pick one, even if it's called ABBA the album. But anyway, since I'm from Sweden, maybe it's good that ABBA turns up in my videos some days. ABBA, good group, especially Benny Andersson, great composer, and I still have the greatest admiration for the music he creates today with his own orchestra, Benny Andersson Orchestra, or Benny Andersson Band. Yeah, and then we have a compilation that was part of a gigantic haul that I made. Well, was it in February this year? When I bought around 50 vinyl albums with different compilations with rock and blues and very interesting stuff. And this is one of them. Sun, The Roots of Rock. I think I got all the records in this series, The Roots of Rock, Sun. This is number 4, Cotton City Country, with artists like Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, Charlie Feathers, Carl Perkins, but also some other names like Dane Stinnett, Red Hadley, Billy Lee Riley, Max Self, people that I am not that familiar with, but I'm not a country expert. Anyway, this was issued on the Charlie label, and it's British pressing, and it has this label on one side with a symbol of the like that, and on the other side it has all the songs. This is of course very good because they haven't fiddled with and put stereo effects to this mono music, so mono recording music, so that's very good. And I found this and so many other records in the same style for almost nothing. It was a great haul, and I was very happy I did it. Okay. The next pick is actually an LP that I bought when it was new on CD first. I found it later on LP, on vinyl. And it was a record that I played lots of times. I was 17 years old when this came out in the stores. Elvis Costello, Mighty Like a Rose. It is not the most beloved of his albums. Many people who are Elvis Costello fans rate this quite low. Think it's quite poor. Think it's too noisy, too arranged, too slick. But also, this album contains some of his angriest songs since he left puberty, I guess. It's from 1991, and it has the hit The Other Side of Summer, nice songs like All Grown Up, So Like Candy, Sweet Bear, How to Be Done. Many good songs on this one, and I was very influenced by this when I was 16, 17, 18 years old, and I listened to almost everything that Elvis Costello made during the 1990s. I actually prefer Costello of the 90s to Costello of the 80s and 70s and even teens. But maybe that was because during that decade I listened a lot to him. Maybe. Okay, so very happy that this record came up, and I think I've showed it before in some recent Vinyl Finds video. I'm not really sure where I bought it, but it isn't that many years ago since I bought it on vinyl. Okay, so over to 278 RPMs then. And the first one, I think I may have even played this in my channel. It's Fidgety Feet by Emperors of Jazz under the direction of Tony Spargo. And we got musicians like Phil Napoleon, Peanuts Hucko, Frank Signorelli, Lou McGarity, Chuck Wayne, Felix Giob, Tony Spargo on drums and kazoo. And these are recordings from 1946. Yeah, I know. I've had actually, this record is actually available in my channel, the music. At least this side, Fidgety Feet. It's on the Swan label. Can we have some focus, please? Or not? Well, maybe not. And on the other side we have At the Jazz Band Ball. This is of course connected to the original Dixieland Jazz Band, where both Frank Signorelli played and Tony Spargo. So, great revival Dixieland on a label that isn't at all that common here in Sweden, the Swan label. I talked earlier about a special story about the record. And this is a HMV record. It is a Swedish, no, it's a British pressing. It's Vaughan Monroe, and it's orchestra. It's probably from 1947. and it's dance, ballerina dance, and Mahalani Papadoo. And it's quite worn, but I have actually kept this for very good reason. I'm going to tell you now. This is one record that has belonged to my grandmother, who bought it way back, probably when it was new, when she was young in the 1940s. And I got big pile of 78 RPMs from her in the, well, maybe the year after the millennium, maybe the year 2000 or 2001. And we discussed old times music. She was very interested in music and had many stories to tell because she had great knowledge, although she didn't play anything herself, but she always had a great interest in music. And she talked about how she thought that, well, all the music was much better back then. And I was, at the same time, I was talking to her, and I was checking through the different titles and seeing what I was given. Then she claimed that, well, yeah, even the titles had more sense back then. And right when she said that, I picked up this one. It was the next one in the pile I was looking through. I picked up this one, and I saw the title, Mahalani Papadoo. So I said, well, look what I just got, and I showed it to her. Does that make sense? And she laughed, and she said, well, probably an exception. This record reminds me very well of that day when I got those 78 RPMs from her. It's not a record that I would play that often, or that I actually think it's quite good, but it has a special meaning to me because I got it from my grandmother. She passed away in Boxing Day 2010. So it's good to have this as a memory of her. Right. That's it. And well, thank you very much, Gary, Sundodger1, for making these extremely good picks. And I hope to see some more numbers from others as soon as possible. And I will try to make the videos as soon as possible, but I've got lots of work to do. But this was great fun, very fun. So hope somebody found this slightly interesting. Bye-bye.